Benny's first time on stock with me, so he's 13 months old. I'm going to start out with some basic communication, ask him to down. He gets up, I apply pressure. So basically I'm just kind of reminding him what he should already know. Call him to me. Just practice walking around and letting him focus on me and what we're doing. I'll go ahead and grab my paddle here. I'm going to let him see it and see if he responds to it at all. Not really, so I kind of touch him in the nose with it and he backs up a little bit, and that's great. Call him to me and we're going to get a set of sheep out. So I don't want the dog harassing the sheep from the other side of the fence, so if he was to stick his nose through the fence, I'd probably bop him on the nose with that paddle. He needs to stand off to the side and wait on me to call him forward. Now he doesn't know all of that, but I just kind of teach it on the fly. So I shorten up the lead and I take him in and we go around the stalk, and that just kind of gives him an option to see them. And you can see once he's seen them, he tries to dart out ahead of me. So he gets jerked on the lead, he gets a hay, he kind of gets jerked into a down. He didn't choose to down, but once he was down I had said hay, and so he made the right decision by staying where he was. So I'm just going to kind of guide him around on the outside with me on the inside, using the lead. And then I use that paddle as a block. If he was to dart ahead of me or try to dart behind me, I would block him with the paddle. I'm just kind of letting him see that these sheep move and that we're going to be going around them. So he's perking up here a little bit. You can see his tail coming up. So I let go of the lead and I was going to let him go. And he's not quite sure yet what to do. So I try to call him to me, call him here, and guide him around. There's a lot of pressure there along that wall. The sheep want to stick on that wall, and there are sheep in every single pen on the way down. So he's got to go between the sheep that we're working and the sheep that are in the pens, and that may just be a lot for him right now. So I'm just going to kind of block him, trying to send him the way I want him to go. I'm going to take the lead off here just in case that's kind of holding him back. Some dogs don't like to work with the lead on. I don't think that was his issue, but I took it off just because he's behaving, he's listening. I don't feel like I'm going to have to grab him. So there he goes. He makes it around and he kind of splits him off. And I like that he really stopped. I was in a position to stop him, but I like that he stopped. He saw that he made a mistake, I think. And instead of just darting in and grabbing something, he was thinking about a way to fix it. So now I'm just asking him to move off paddle pressure here and go to the sheep, and he's just not. Sometimes putting the pressure on him like that keys them into you instead of the stop. What I'm worried about here, just because I know the layout of this and what's going on, is that the sheep are going to get stuck in that corner because there is a heavy draw. They're drawn to their buddies on the other side of the fence, and the dog is young and he's not experienced in getting them off the fence. So you can see when he gets a little bit unsure or excited, the tail comes up. That's normal, but that's just something you're watching to see. So right there, instead of getting to the head on that one, he kind of went towards the butt. That's just young dog stuff, but I do note that for future reference, that he has a tendency to fall in on the butt instead of get out and go to the head. So here he's going to head tail him a little bit on the fence. He had the opportunity to go through, but he chose not to. I might have been blocking him a little bit, but I don't think so, because right there it was wide open for him to go through and he chose not to. So I'm just going to try to get him to give to my pressure, and at this point I don't care if he makes a mess, I just want him to go to the stalk. He was on the head of that one, so that was really nice. So he's really trying to figure out how to get them off the fence, and there he goes. Split one off a little bit, but he tried to cover it. He's just tight and fast. I'm not going to get on him for that right now. He just doesn't know any better. What the dog is showing you the first couple of times they're on stalk are pretty much their natural tendencies, what they'll fall back to. He gives to pressure really well. You can see I'm already able to get him kind of wide just by putting pressure with that paddle on his shoulder, smack it on the ground, and he's really respectful of that. So now I've got sheep in another corner, but that's easier for him to lift them off because there's not sheep on the other side. He made it all the way around and fetched him to me, and that was wonderful. So I'm going to send him the same way that he went because he had success. I'm not going to change it up too much yet. I want him to be successful. A lot of this is just going to be him figuring out what he can do and what he can't do and what works. So I back up into a corner there so that he can see a perfect fetch. The sheep are with me, and I have the ability to step out and influence him if I need to. So if he was to start darting back and forth, try to grab a sheep, I could just step out and put pressure on him and back him off. So I'm just going to try to send him the way he doesn't want to go. So every dog's going to have a preferred direction. I'm just asking him to give into that paddle pressure, and once he does, I'm going to release it and let him go. And you can see once he gets in position, these sheep are going to move out of that corner. Right there. See, they moved, they opened up the door for him, and he was able to go around. So he split one off, but he immediately saw it, and I do let him head tail it a bit. So he's going to the head, he's turning it, and then eventually he does kind of give and let it go back to the flock. So that was just something that I wanted to see what he would handle. Now see, the second time he singles one out, I'm not going to allow that to happen. So you see something once, maybe it's just a fluke, something that's young dog stuff. You see it twice, you see it 3 times, you've got a pattern. So when I saw it happen the second time, I stopped him. I did not let him work the single, and I had him put the group back together before we worked again. So there again, I'm going to put myself on the fence so that he can see what a fetch looks like. He's got the sheep held to me. He's got a little bit of rate because he automatically wants to stop. And I tell him that'll do, and I walk away from the stop. He's not on a lead, and he needs to come to me when I call him. So here he's going to think, oh, I'm going to sneak by, I'm going to go work. I'm going to give him a verbal correction. When he stops, I'm going to call him to me, good boy. If he chooses to go to stock without me asking him to, that paddle might come out of my hand and touch him a little bit and tell him, I didn't ask you to do that. So you're setting the rules up right from the very beginning on what you will and will not allow with these dogs.